Welcome back to Advanced Techniques in Corel Draw. I'm Mary Winkler for Tots Plus. In this lesson, we'll begin to fill the cup and render the cup's handle. Starting from where we left off in the previous lesson, we're going to begin to fill the coffee cup. This is the first layer of contents and simply forms the highlight and reflection from the cup onto the coffee. Draw a circle within the coffee cup. Much like the cup, most of it will not show in our final design. But if you choose to create tea or a different drink within your cup, you'll have the techniques down in order to do so. Let's set the fill color to a light brown and outline to none. We'll need to apply an elliptical fountain fill to the circle with the inner color, the one on the right, set to a much darker brown. While you can keep it a flat color, having it as a fountain fill will give you a good basis for where to place the next part of the cup's contents in the next lesson. Like if you choose coffee with some milk in it as your contents, this would also form a good basis for that design. Use the interactive fill tool to adjust the gradient's radius. You want the lighter color to be confined to a strip of area near the edge of the circle. It's meant to act as a highlight and bright reflection within the cup. Adjust the saucer's mesh or any ellipses beneath the cup in order to give the coffee cup a bit more depth. Use the drop shadow tool to apply a drop shadow to the light brown circle. You'll want to make sure the shadow is aimed toward the lower right, as that's where we're placing the most dramatic of shadows we have. Overall, this is a fairly light illustration, whose shadows aren't terribly strong. Keep the transparency to 24 or so, and the feathering to a low single-digit number. You want the drop shadow in this case to be subtle, but add a little bit more depth to the design. We'll be doing more in the next lesson to the inside of the cup in order to render its contents. Let's move on to the cup's handle. Once again, I'm going to unhide the handle from the original cup I drew for this course, so you can easily see what we're aiming at with our illustration. The placement of the handle is up to you. I've chosen the lower right of the cup, since I'm right-handed, and this is as close to where it would be if I was drinking this coffee. Using the rectangle tool, draw a small rectangle. Use the pick tool to select it twice in order to rotate it to the right, about 45 degrees or so. Place it so that it overlaps the rim of the cup. In the property bar, unlock the corner radii and fillet the two corners that do not overlap the cup. You'll want to round them out to 1/4 of an inch radius or so. The radius of the corners will depend on the size of your rectangle, of course. You want the handle rounded but squared ever so slightly. In the Object Manager, place the rounded rectangle handle beneath the coffee cup components but above the saucer components. My object is a little big, so I've scaled it down slightly. I'm going to hide my cup components so I can focus on the handle when rendering it. Grab the mesh tool and let's get going. Select the leftmost nodes and apply a medium gray to them. We're giving the handle some form since we're only seeing the very top edge of it. If this was a different angle, there would be a much larger shape to render. Since we have such a small area, we have to do our best to make it stand out. Repeat along the outer edge of the handle shape. Add a couple nodes in the center of the handle. Select the center nodes and apply a light gray or white to them. Currently, the handle doesn't stand out enough. We definitely have more work to do. Next, we need to define the handle's edge better so it doesn't blend into the saucer. I'm going to use the zoom tool to zoom in on my handle so I'm focused on it during the rest of this lesson. Center your object within your window and pick up the mesh tool again. Add a node on either side of the center of the handle. This will add another line of nodes to work with. Select the 6 new nodes and set their fill colors to light gray or white. Adjust your node shapes so that there isn't any sort of indent. It's easy for handles of nodes within a mesh to accidentally be manipulated in the wrong way, especially when working on a mesh while you're zoomed out. Select the edge nodes and apply a darker gray to them. Notice how immediately the handle is more defined than it was before. How far you push this shadow will determine how much the handle stands out. While we want it to be defined against the saucer, we also don't want it to be too stark in contrast to the other coffee cup parts. At this point, I've completed my handle, and I'm ready to move on to the next lesson. You are welcome to push the rendering of your handle as far as you want for the sake of your illustration. Thank you so much for watching this lesson on completing the coffee cup and handle. Join me in the next lesson where we continue filling our coffee up with a realistically rendered liquid created from mesh shapes.